You were taught to be kind, humble, forgiving. You were told these are the virtues of a good man. But look around you. The ruthless rise, the unapologetic advance, the man who takes, gets. The loud are heard, while your reasoned arguments are ignored, and someone who is none of the things you were taught to be, someone less moral, less kind, less deserving, is taking what you want. They don't hesitate in the meeting. They don't second-guess their desire for power, for wealth, for respect. They act. And the world, despite everything it preaches, rewards them. Meanwhile, you play by the rules. You wait for your turn. You believe in fairness. And you watch them pass you by, a quiet, burning resentment in your gut. You think the problem is that you're not confident enough, not assertive enough. You think you need to learn a new tactic, a new trick. But what if I told you the problem isn't what you're lacking? What if the problem is what you have? What if your goodness isn't your virtue? It's your cage? A cage built with the best intentions to keep strong men predictable, manageable, and weak. This isn't about becoming cruel. This is not a call to villainy. It's about remembering the beast they trained you to forget. It's about finding the courage to become dangerous again. You believe being good is noble. But every time you hesitate because you are worried about offending someone, every time you stay silent when you should speak, every time you swallow your own needs to please others, the world moves on without you. Nietzsche, the philosopher who took a scalpel to the soul of modern man, gave a chilling warning. When the strong forget their strength, the world is not ruled by the noble. It is ruled by the resentful, the clever, and the weak. Think about it. The world doesn't punish aggression, it punishes hesitation. It rewards the man who moves with certainty, even if he's wrong. The world doesn't hate power, it fears it, and it secretly craves to be led by it. Your goodness, your hesitation, your deep desire to be seen as a good guy doesn't earn you respect. It signals to the predators of the world that you are safe, that you are not a threat. So ask yourself, who benefits when you suppress your power? It's not you. Your goodness isn't protecting you. It's protecting them from you. From your first breath, you were trained in the art of self-containment. You were trained to tame the beast. Politeness became the muzzle for your ambition. Kindness became the file that dulled your claws. Humility became the collar around the neck of your will to power. Every institution, schools, society, even your own family, conspired in this taming. They rewarded your submission with praise and punished your assertion with labels: arrogant, selfish, difficult. And what's left? A man pacing in his own cage, haunted by the ghost of his own potential. A man who follows the rules of a game that others are cheating at, wondering why he feels so empty, so resentful, so powerless. This video isn't about making you better according to their rules. It's about making you dangerous according to your own. It's about reawakening the part of you that knows how to hunt. It's about making you dangerous again. To break free, you must first understand who built the cage and why. This isn't an accident. Your hesitation, your guilt, your quiet compliance, they were engineered. To understand how, you must go back. Back to a time before your modern world, before its rules and its virtues. To a time when there were only two kinds of men, two kinds of power: the masters and the slaves. First, picture the master, the noble, the warrior chieftain, the eagle surveying the world from the mountain peak. He is overflowing with life, with health, with strength. He doesn't ask for permission. He doesn't seek validation. He defines good simply by what he is. Pride, courage, danger, a beautiful ruthlessness, these are his virtues. His morality flows directly from his power. It is honest. It is pure. When he acts, it is like a force of nature. He is the lion, and he feels no guilt for the hunt. Now, picture the slave, the weak, the oppressed, the downtrodden. He looks upon the master with fear and with a deep, burning envy that seethes in the dark corners of his soul. He is powerless to fight the master physically. The lion would crush him without a thought. So, unable to win in the world of action, he begins a new kind of war, a spiritual revenge, a quiet, patient and brilliant act of psychological warfare that would poison the wells of power for thousands of years. From the depths of his resentment, the slave concocts a new morality. He takes everything the master is, and he rebrands it. He looks at the master's strength and calls it evil. He looks at the master's pride and calls it vanity. His ruthlessness becomes sin. His power becomes tyranny. And then, with black magic brilliance, he takes his own weaknesses and reframes them as virtues. His inability to take revenge, he calls forgiveness. His fear of the powerful, he calls humility. His submission, he calls obedience. His pain, his suffering, he calls a blessing. This is how the world's strongest men were taught to feel guilty for their strength. This spiritual poison, this slave morality, was whispered from one generation to the next. It spread not like an army, but like a plague, infecting the very soul of civilization. The values of the weak, born from resentment, became the dominant moral code. The cage was built. The morality you live by was never designed to make you strong. It was never designed to make you free. It was a weapon forged by the powerless to make the powerful feel ashamed of their own nature. It was designed to make you harmless. And it worked. The proof is the tamed beast pacing inside your soul, the lion that has been taught to think and act like a lamb. Now that you know where the cage came from, it is time to examine its bars. They are not made of iron. They are not made of stone. They are forged from virtues. 3 pillars of goodness that you live by every day. 3 poisons you have been taught to call medicine, that are secretly keeping you weak. The first bar is the vice of humility. Be humble, they told you. They sold it to you as a sign of quiet confidence, a mark of the enlightened man. Nietzsche saw it for what it is, a strategy of the weak, a preemptive apology for your own existence. True humility, born of self-awareness, is a tool. But the humility you've been taught is a performance. It is the act of deliberately making yourself smaller, to make the insecure people around you feel bigger. It is downplaying your achievements so you don't trigger their envy. It is softening your certainty so you don't challenge their fragile beliefs. It is the beast, apologizing for the space it occupies. Think of the meeting where you had the best idea, but you presented it as a mere suggestion, just a thought. You watched someone more assertive steal it and claim the victory. That was your humility at work. It did not make you noble. It made you invisible. It is not a virtue, it is a leash. The second bar is the vice of pity. Have pity for the weak, they taught you. They framed it as the highest form of compassion. Nietzsche ripped the mask off and exposed its ugly face. Pity, he saw, is not an act of strength. It is a condescending indulgence. When you pity someone, you are not lifting them up. You are looking down on them. You are affirming their weakness, cementing their status as a victim. It drains your own energy, and it enables their helplessness. It is the beast, choosing to feel sad for the gazelle, instead of embracing its own nature as a predator. It is a corruption of your own life-affirming instincts. Think of the friend who wallows in their own failure, who constantly complains but never acts. Your pity does not help them. It becomes a drug they crave, a validation for their inaction, and in giving it, you participate in their decay. Do not confuse pity with empathy. Empathy understands. Pity condescends. Pity is not compassion. It is a contaminant. And the third and most powerful bar in your cage, the vice of niceness. This is the cornerstone of the tamed man. You must understand the brutal difference between kindness and niceness. Kindness is a choice. It is the conscious act of a powerful man who can do harm, but chooses not to. It comes from a place of abundance and strength. Niceness is a strategy. It is the desperate, fear-based tactic of someone who needs approval. The nice guy isn't nice because he is good. He is nice because he is afraid. Afraid of rejection, afraid of conflict, afraid of not being liked. His niceness is a transaction. He gives it, hoping to get something in return. Respect, validation, affection. And when the world doesn't give him what he wants, he becomes resentful. Think about it. When did being nice ever get you true respect? Niceness is the tamed beast, begging for a pat on the head. It is the uniform of the servant. These are the three bars that keep you trapped. Humility, that forces you to shrink. Pity, that infects you with weakness. And niceness, that makes you a beggar for approval. They are the pillars of the good man's sickness. You call them morals. Nietzsche called them poisons. Now that you have seen the bars, are you ready to be given the hammer? Are you ready for the cure? You have seen the cage. You have felt the bars. Now, I will give you the hammer. The cure for the good man's sickness is not a gentle potion. It is not a quiet prayer. It is a violent act of self-creation. The goal is not to become bad. That is simply the other side of the slave's coin. The goal is to rise above the game entirely, to become a force that is beyond their definitions. The goal is to become the creator of values, a man who doesn't follow the moral map, but draws it. To do this, you must wield 3 weapons. 3 sacred tools to demolish the old cage and forge a new self from its ruins. First, you must embrace your will to power. This is Nietzsche's most misunderstood secret. The herd fears this phrase. They think it means the petty, brutish desire to dominate others. That is a slave's definition of power. The true will to power is the relentless internal fire to overcome your own limitations. It is the drive to grow, to expand, to become stronger, harder, deeper, higher. It is the beast learning to strengthen its own sinews, not for the hunt, but for the climb. You must stop suppressing this drive. You must feed it. Every time you choose the difficult path over the comfortable one, you are feeding the will to power. Every time you master a new skill, every time you conquer a fear, you are feeding the will to power. This is your new spiritual engine, the divine fire of self-mastery. Second, you must perform the revaluation of values, turning your sins into strengths. You have been taught to be ashamed of your sharpest edges. Now you will learn to sharpen them. You must look at the vices that slave morality has condemned and reforge them into virtues. Your pride. They told you it was arrogance. It is your spine. It is the refusal to bow, to shrink, to apologize for your own strength, your ambition. They told you it was greed. It is your flame. It is the sacred hunger for more life, more growth, more impact. Your selfishness. They told you it was a sin. It is the root of self-mastery. How can a man who has not first built himself give anything of value to the world? Your new morality begins when you stop apologizing for your strength. And the third and final weapon is the pathos of distance. To hear your own voice, you must first deafen yourself to the noise of the herd. You must cultivate the calm indifference of the mountain. Their praise is a cage. Their criticism is a cage. Your indifference is the key that unlocks both. When they praise you, observe it, but do not absorb it. When they criticize you, analyze it for data, but do not let it touch your core. This distance is not arrogance. It is a necessary silence, the sacred space where you can finally hear the instincts of the beast within and the commands of the creator you are becoming. The herd will call this dangerous. They're right. It is dangerous. To their control. You have been given the hammer. The only question left is, what will you build? You were taught how to swing it. So what happens when the cage finally shatters? What does the world look like to a beast that has remembered its own strength? Welcome to the life beyond good and evil. This is not a life of chaos or cruelty. That is the fear the herd wants you to feel. This is a life of clarity. The new man, the creator, no longer asks, is this action good or is it bad? That is the question of a slave, still looking for a master's approval. Instead, he asks a single, profound question. Does this affirm life, or does it deny it? Does this make me stronger, deeper, more alive? Does this expand my power, my will, my impact on the world? Or does this make me smaller, weaker, more resentful, more pathetic? That is his only compass. His own life, and the enhancement of that life, becomes his ultimate moral law. He is no longer a character in someone else's story. He is the author of his own. And from this new center of gravity, he reclaims what was taken from him. He revisits the idea of kindness. The nice guy is dead. The servant who gave compliments in exchange for approval is gone. But in his place, a man of authentic strength can now choose true kindness, a kindness that is not a strategy but a demonstration of power, an act of generosity that comes from a spirit so abundant it can afford to give without needing anything in return. He can be kind because he is no longer afraid. He walks through the world not as a predator and not as prey, but as a force of nature. His presence is a statement. His silence is a decision. His actions are his own. This is not about being a good man. It's about becoming a great one. He has stopped seeking to be a good man. The world has enough of those. It needs more creators, more lions who remember the hunt. It is time to become a great one. It is time to slay your goodness